Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank y'all for tuning in. This is King Blake, and I welcome y'all to the Blake Check. Man, listen, we gotta have a serious discussion today, right? Because the U.S. continues to break records for overdoses, right? This is something that has been recognized already as a huge problem in our country, but the problem continues to get worse and worse over the last few decades, right? So since the 90s, the overdose record has continued to get higher and higher throughout the years, right? The record of deaths caused by overdose. This year topped last year's high by a whopping 15%. 15%. So that means however high we was getting last year, people done got 15% higher, right? In terms of like just the volume of people who are overdosing. And of course, a lot of that is contributed to fentanyl. Fentanyl has really been a popular drug that you have seen contribute to the deaths of Michael K. Williams, Mac Miller, and so many others. So I think what's going on right now is only getting worse, and a lot of people aren't as aware of it. So I just wanted to go through the article and react to it and break down and share some of my thoughts on it as well. So the article that I'm pulling from is from Yahoo News, right? Written by The Hill. And the article goes: U.S. drug overdose deaths hit another record high. So these are the key points here. An estimated 107,622 drug overdose deaths occurred in the US last year alone, the largest number of fatal overdoses ever recorded in a calendar year. The data shows a nearly 15% increase from the 93,655 deaths that took place over the course of 2020, a year that saw a 30% spike in fatal overdoses from the year prior. So last year, 2020 spiked 30%. This year, well, the year that just finished closed out, 2021, spiked another 15. So that's 45% spike in 2 years. The synthetic opioid fentanyl, right? That's the one we just talked about, is what they are attributing has to fueling the unprecedented surge. A record number of Americans died from drug overdoses in 2021 as a powerful opioid fentanyl continues to fuel a national drug crisis. New provisional data released Wednesday by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC, show an estimated 107,622 drug overdose deaths occurred in the U.S. last year, the largest number of fatal overdoses ever recorded in a calendar year. The data show a nearly 15% increase from 93,655 deaths in 2020, a record year that saw a 30% spike in fatal overdoses from the year prior. The provisional numbers are subject to change. Overdose deaths involving opioids such as illicit fentanyl and heroin jumped from an estimated 70,029 in 2020 to 80,816 in 2021. Deaths involving drugs such as methamphetamine and cocaine saw significant increases. Deaths from fentanyl alone increased from 57,834 in 2020 to 71,238 last year. Wow. So we have had in 2021 over 70,000 people have their death attributed to fentanyl overdoses. 70,000. That's over 1,000 and change, like 1,100 in each state. If you was to break it down, in a fair, 50 states type of thing, that's over like 11,000 in each state, right? More than that. My math ain't that good. I want to say like like maybe 15 or something like that. Who knows? I'm not that good at math on this. I mean, I said 11,000 in each state. I'm bugging. 1,100 in each state, and maybe more like 1,500. The data surpassed another devastating milestone in the history of the overdose epidemic in America. Nora Volkow, director of the National Institute of Drug Abuse, told Change in America in a statement. Compounding the tragedy, we have underused treatments that could help many people. We must meet people where they are to prevent overdoses, reduce harm, and connect people to prevent treatments to reduce drug use. Fentanyl and other potent synthetic opioids have permeated the illicit drug market as they are cheap to manufacture and incredibly potent. Fentanyl, which is up to 50 times more powerful than heroin and up to 100 times stronger than morphine, is often mixed with other powdered drugs like cocaine and methamphetamine, and is also used to manufacture counterfeit pills made to look like legitimate prescription drugs such as oxycodone and Percocet, sold on the street or the internet. Okay, so this is where I really wanted to sink my teeth in, right? Because a lot of people who are dying from fentanyl overdoses never intended to take fentanyl, right? And so you're saying, all right, well, if they never intended to take the fentanyl, how did that happen? How did the fentanyl get into their system? And that paragraph right there basically explains it all. It's 50 times stronger than heroin. So people who looking to get heroin, this thing is stronger than anything they was anticipating. 100 times stronger than morphine. Anybody who's been through surgeries, been in the hospital, and had to use morphine, did some picture something 100 times stronger than that. And it's often mixed with other drugs like cocaine and methamphetamine. And is also used to manufacture counterfeit pills made to look like legit prescription drugs such as oxys and perks. So, let me go to the next paragraph. This dynamic has resulted in a troubling trend in which people are overdosing after unknowingly ingesting fentanyl. See, I didn't even see that paragraph before I said that. So, this is an issue where really you have a lot of these prescription drugs being heavily advertised in culture, right? I'm gonna say, personally, as somebody who loves hip hop, you hear it a lot in hip hop culture. You hear a lot of it in rap music. Kodak Black famously on the song Gremlins, he said, "I knew the perk was fake, but I still ate it because I'm a gremlin." Right. So when you have people taking those stances and making light of it, you get more people who on a day-to-day say, "Oh, I'm a gremlin. I don't even care if the perk's fake. I'm still do it." And then you end up dying. You have situations where like a Juice World, we lost him due to him taking an overdose of drugs when he passed away. Oxy's another drug heavily advertised, like oxys and perks, they go hand in hand in terms of, like, how heavily they're promoted in hip hop culture and music and in songs. You hear people talking about oxys, roxys, perks, all the time. Future famously had Mask Off, where he was just talking about perks and everything like that as well. So it's something that has become very popularized, but it is very dangerous and very deadly. And if these artists, a lot of them were taking it the way that they're saying that they take it, a lot of them wouldn't be here anymore, as evident by a lot of their peers who ended up overdosing and passing away because they came into contact with fentanyl. Something similarly with Michael K. Williams, they found out that he had fentanyl in the drugs that he was using, and they went and they rounded up the dealer, and they're charging him for that. So it's a very dangerous thing. People are trying to uh, you know tell people to check their pills and things like that, but it's a big problem. It's a really 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 big problem, and people are taking it unknowingly, thinking that they're gonna get high on one thing and then they get slipped something else. So it goes on to say the Drug Enforcement Administration in April sent a letter to law enforcement agencies warning of mass overdose events across the country caused by fentanyl. Just last week, Ohio State University issued a warning to students about fake Adderall pills containing fentanyl following the apparent fatal overdose of two of their students. Fentanyl is the single deadliest threat our nation has ever encountered, DEA Administrator Ann Milgram said in a statement Tuesday, marking the agency's first ever National Fentanyl Awareness Day. Fentanyl is everywhere, from large metropolitan areas to rural America. No community is safe from this poison. We must take every opportunity to spread the word to prevent the fentanyl-related overdoses, claiming scores of American lives every day. Milgram said the White House last month unveiled a plan to tackle overdose death, which emphasized harm reduction strategies such as increasing access to clean needles, fentanyl test strips, and naloxone, a drug used to rapidly reverse opioid overdoses. So that was the article I just wanted to share with everybody. Prayers to you and your family if you out there are dealing with that, because these are real numbers, these are real people, and that means that there are. If there's 100,000, over 100,000 people that overdosed last year, and you take the year before that, 93,000, we're looking at 200,000 deaths over the last 2 years alone from overdoses. So we're talking about millions of families affected across the country. And that's just, in America. Worldwide, this thing is a really, really, really big issue. So, for those out there, if you know anybody on drugs, if you or yourself is on it, man, clean it up, clean it up. Because at the end of the day, you know, you don't want to lose your life. Nobody's going into these things getting high to kill themselves. They're getting high to have an escape or to feel better or just to have a good time. And at the end of the day, if you ain't got these fentanyl test strips, you can use the internet for everything else. Find out how to get them. Even if you know people who you suspect is using drugs, get the test strips for them. Help somebody else out. Get some and put it on your social media and let people know, like, hey, no questions asked. If you need some fentanyl test strips, let me know. I'm here for you. And just be a service in your community, because you could possibly save lives, man. This fentanyl thing is getting crazy. It's out of control. And the people that are doing that and mixing it with the drugs, only thinking about is profit. They ain't thinking about the effects. And like they said, scores of people are dying daily from it. And just be safe out there. This is the Blake Check. We talk entertainment and sometimes gossip, because that's just what's entertainment. If it bleeds, it leads. But also sometimes we gotta get a little real and break down, like, the glamorification of these drugs, especially these prescription ones. It has to stop. It has to stop. 200,000 deaths over the last 2 years, and those are overdoses, right? So it ain't worth it, man. It's your boy King Blake, just giving y'all a little bit of food for thought. Y'all do the dishes. Once again, I'm out of here. Continue to watch more content coming for y'all. Subscribe to the channel, man. We here.